This video is brought to you by Brilliant. Today, the Netherlands appoints a new Prime Minister. Georgia overturns a veto on its controversial foreign agents law, and North Korea falls out with China. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday the 29th of May 2024. Our main news story today is that a former Dutch intelligence chief, Dick Schoof, is set to become the next Prime Minister of the Netherlands. Schoof was handpicked by Geert Wilders, the controversial leader of the far-right Freedom Party, or PVV, to lead what's now the country's most right-wing government in decades. Speaking in The Hague on Tuesday, Schoof said he wanted to become Prime Minister for all Dutch people, adding, "I've always felt involved in the governance of our country and have always wanted to play my part in it." Schoof has been described by Wilders as non-partisan and very sympathetic, with Schoof saying he knew Wilders a little. But who is Schoof, and why has he been chosen for the role? Well, Schoof is a career civil servant who's currently the top official in the Dutch Ministry of Justice, having previously held a range of other national security-related jobs. He led the immigration service between 1999 and 2003, and then spent 14 years as the head of the Dutch intelligence agency AIVD, in which he was responsible for counter-terrorism and internal security matters. He was also a member of the Dutch Labour Party until a few years ago, saying he no longer feels any affinity to it. So you can see how his credentials have caught Wilders' eye. The current coalition, which agreed its manifesto only 2 weeks ago, after half a year of political dilly-dallying, has made immigration and security two of its major concerns. It's vowed to introduce the, quote, strictest and most comprehensive package for controlling migration ever, which will include suspending the processing of asylum applications, scrapping automatic family reunification, deporting people without a valid residence permit, and stopping asylum seekers from having priority for social housing. But while he might have some solid experience, Schoof's appointment came as a surprise, even to himself. He told reporters at a press conference, "When I was asked for this position, I also didn't think I would be standing here today." He also faced a question about whether he, or Wilders, would actually be in charge. In response, Schoof stressed that he'd been appointed by the four parties in the new coalition, saying, "There is only one Prime Minister, and that will be me." We'll have to keep an eye on Dutch politics over the next few weeks anyway, as Schoof's first task as Prime Minister will be to assemble a ministerial team and cabinet, which could be in place by the end of June. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like David Koifman, then consider joining the new TLDR membership programme for just $1.99. The Georgian parliament has overturned a presidential veto on the controversial foreign agents law, risking further sanctions and effectively torpedoing the country's hopes of joining the European Union. The law, which had already been passed on May the 14th before being vetoed by the president, forces media and non-governmental organisations that receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad to register as an organisation acting in the interest of a foreign power, or face fines. Critics of the law, who refer to it as the Russian law, say it's inspired by legislation in Russia that President Vladimir Putin has used to crack down on NGOs and independent media. The legislation has had a turbulent journey to become law. It was first introduced last year by the ruling Georgian Dream Party, but was withdrawn amid mass protests. It was reintroduced this year, sparking further protests and violent clashes on the street and in parliament. But these were not enough to deter the government. President Salom Zourabichvili, who is not from the ruling party, is staunchly opposed to the law and is aligned with the protesters. She said to protesters after the law was passed that, "You are angry today, and rightly so, but let's get to business," adding that she would approve a referendum on whether we want a European future or Russian slavery if enough signatures are gathered. The United States has said it will impose travel restrictions and other sanctions on politicians complicit in undermining democracy in Georgia. Meanwhile, the EU, which granted Georgia candidate status last December, has warned that the new law could jeopardise progress towards membership. Polling suggests that some 80% of Georgians support joining the EU. In other news, North Korea has taken a rare swipe at its ally China, demonstrating the limits of the close relationship between the two countries. A trilateral summit was held on Monday in Seoul between South Korea, China and Japan, which Chinese Premier Li Qiang said was both a restart and a new beginning. Crucial to this story, though, was a joint statement by the three countries, which included a reiteration of their commitment to denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. This really frustrated North Korea, whose foreign ministry condemned the Chinese-Japanese-South Korean statement as a grave political provocation and violation of sovereignty. It went on to accuse South Korea of bringing a grave security crisis to the Korean peninsula, and said that it's because of hostile acts and military blackmail by the United States that North Korea is building up its nuclear force. Analyst Tong Zhao said this is about North Korea emphasizing its stance that any diplomatic rhetoric suggesting Pyongyang should eventually denuclearize is unacceptable. Other analysts have highlighted that North Korea-China relations have been cooling over the last year or so, with North Korea strengthening its ties with Russia, though this is the first time in recent years any sign of trouble have broken out into the open. South Africans have been voting today in what has been billed as the most competitive election since the end of apartheid 30 years ago. The African National Congress, or ANC, has led South Africa with a parliamentary majority since the country's first free and fair elections in 1994, but the ANC's dominance is now in question. Polling consistently shows the ANC remains the largest party, but falling below 50%, raising the prospect that it could lose its majority for the first time, potentially forcing it to try and find a coalition partner. There are a number of reasons for the ANC's expected decline: high unemployment and persistent inequality, power cuts and water shortages, allegations of corruption, and also the simple fact that as time passes since the ANC led the fight against apartheid's white minority rule, younger South Africans just don't have the same loyalty to the party as the older generations do. The political landscape has also been shifted by the alliance of a number of opposition parties through the multi-party charter, as well as the emergence of the new MK party, led by former President Jacob Zuma, who is split from the ANC. Keep an eye on the TLDR Global channel for a full video on the election once the results are in. And finally, in some uplifting news, we head to Gloucestershire, where crowds gathered on Monday for the annual cheese rolling race, in which people run, or fall, down Cooper's Hill in pursuit of a wheel of double Gloucester cheese. The event draws in people from around the world and is known for its falls, slips and tumbles, sometimes ending in injury. The winner of the men's race and taker home of the cheese wheel was Tom from Germany, who said England is mad, while the women's race winner was a past champion, Abby Lamp, from the US state of North Carolina. When making videos like this, we rely on tons of data analysis to interpret crucial economic data and understand political decisions. But this kind of analysis isn't just crucial for our jobs. As our world becomes more driven by AI and data, your job will likely require more analytical skills too. That's why we've been using Brilliant. Brilliant is the STEM learning platform which can teach you all the skills you'll need in an increasingly digital workplace. They've just introduced a whole collection of new programming and LLM courses, suitable for learners at any level, taking you through everything from learning Python to understanding the importance of training data. And Brilliant isn't just about memorization and lectures. Brilliant teaches you by doing, using active learning techniques to teach you the principles behind otherwise quite complex topics, and ensuring that you actually understand what's going on, with thousands of interactive lessons in maths, data analysis, programming, and AI. All of Brilliant's courses are split into easy-to-digest chunks, meaning you can quickly and easily gain real knowledge in just a few minutes a day, with fun lessons you can do whenever you have time, replacing mindless scrolling on the bus or waiting for coffee with something stimulating and rewarding. To gain access to Brilliant for free for a full 30 days, head to brilliant.org/TLDR. or click the link in the description. That way you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know that you came from us, which really helps us out. Thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video, and thank you for your support.